Welcome to the video. In this 8-day trip to Kruger National Park, we stayed at Skukuza, Satara, Tamboti and ended off at Kruger Bridge. We had some of our best big cat sightings from leopards hunting impala and big male lions hunting buffalo. This was filmed in August 2023. I hope you enjoy the video. Even though we were in a bit of a rush to get to Skukuza, we had to stop and look at the hippos and crocodiles in the Sabi River. It's always a special sight.
Today is a very exciting day. We have driven from KZN. It was quite a long drive. Just stopped quickly at a lookout by Sabi River. I haven't seen too much today, but we only got to around about 2 at Kruger Bridge, so yeah, we're looking forward to what our 8-night stay has to offer.
And as it usually goes, the best sightings always happen when you need to reach camp before the gates close. Hey, morning guys, welcome to our first full day in the Kruger Park. We arrived quite late at Skukuza last night and we didn't really film much. We were quite late and we saw lions last night, 2 female lions right next to the car. And we're headed to Satara tonight. We're going to be staying there for 4 nights and we're heading on the road straight up to Chokwani where we're going to have breakfast. Right now we're parked on a low water bridge. We left Skukuza at 6 o'clock. Come along, let's see what we see on the road to Chokwani. The birding was particularly good on the drive between Skukuza and Chokwan, a route that's usually good for lion sightings. This Battalier really put on a show. It flew in over us and landed in a tree next to the car. So we're here at Leopard. After we saw the barred owlet and the bateleur this morning, those two definitely the highlights. We've been here at Leopard watching the birds, just the water birds, and a huge herd of elephants came for a drink. It's been a really nice morning. The birds are so good.
Yeah, we haven't seen any like cats or anything, but the birds have been amazing.
That barred owlet this morning was definitely a highlight, and
and so nice he was calling for us.
After spending a good time at Leopard and a quick stop at Chikwani picnic site, we then headed to Satara where we'd be staying for 4 nights. The road between Chikwani and Satara produced some really special sightings. Once all the leopard sightings were over, we got some really nice views of this friendly green wood hoopoe while it was foraging for food inside of Satara rest camp. After claiming a campsite at Satara, we decided that we'd drive the S100 in the afternoon. That meant that we wouldn't face directly into the setting sun as we drove east, and when we headed back west, the sun would have already set.
So since we last spoke, we got to Satara and we set up camp. Luckily, we managed to get a campsite at the fence, which was really unexpected because there's so many people there at the moment. Shelly was doing a bird count earlier. We've seen 62 birds, but I still stay with yesterday's statement of seeing 130 birds. Shelly thinks that we're definitely going to see more than that. But
I think 150. We've seen some really nice birds and different birds. I'm hoping at least. That's the goal.
That's the goal. And we're on the S100 at the moment.
Have a nice afternoon drive now. It's still so hot though.
We parked here next to a riverbed. And there's a croc down there. Not a lot of water. We expected this river, the Inwanetsi River, to be dry. But there is some water. So we've just driven the S100 and we're heading back to Satara. It's a beautiful sunset. It's such a stunning afternoon.
Yeah, really lovely afternoon.
There's not a breath of wind.
Excited to go back to Satara and have a nice chilled evening, have a braai, and then we're by the fence, so maybe set up the night camera and see what we see there, see if we hear some hyena or something during the evening.
This was our second full day in the park and the anticipation was extremely high. The park was very quiet, so most of the sightings that we had were all to ourselves. Going north from Satara, you're always likely to see a big herd of buffalo like this. We decided that we'd just park off and listen to them graze and make their way through the dry grass.
So today we left Satara at about 6:30 and we headed north towards Olifants. We were hoping to get towards the S147 and have a look around there earlier this morning, but we were a bit later than usual. We had a few stops along the way. We had some really nice sightings of buffalo in the early morning sunlight. A lot of oxpeckers and also wattled starlings flying around, so that held us up quite a bit. We didn't want to rush and then end up ruining the morning chasing around for cats. Grey-backed sparrowlarks, which I haven't ever seen before. Shelly hasn't seen them either, so that's a new bird for both of us. We're going to head north towards Olifants and have a look at the view from the deck. Hopefully we see some more stuff along the way, but we're really enjoying the morning drive and it's beautiful. I'm pretty sure it's going to warm up and get really hot later as well.
Yeah.
Some good birding was done in the Olifants Rest Camp car park. Birds were feeding on the flowering aloes, which meant that I was able to get some decent footage of a few species which usually aren't cooperative in front of the camera. Olifants Rest Camp is named after the Olifants River, and from the camp there's a view of the river and you get a good idea of just how wide it is. That afternoon we headed to Gavana Dam just off of the H7, where we were able to spend the afternoon in the presence of a few gentle giants. In my opinion, nothing beats sunset in the bush. The colors of nature are soft and everything is just that much more tranquil.
Hey guys, it's the start of our third full day in the park. We left Satara and headed straight down the S100 this morning. We saw a beautiful sunrise as we headed east, and now we're heading down the S41 towards the Inwanetsi picnic site. We've passed over a few small streams and we've seen nice Goliath heron, African black crake, and an African jacana. Yeah, some nice bird sightings this morning. And Shelly's also been keeping us up to date with the bird list, and we've managed to see 93 birds already, which I think is quite good for winter. Our bird list in November wasn't much higher than this when we were here for 9 days, so
it's quite good.
Because it was the dry season, plenty of animals congregate around whatever water there is available. This made the bird hide a good place to see many different species. On the way back to Satara at the end of our morning drive, we had some of our best sightings while we were staying in the area. This honey badger hung around and allowed us to get some footage. And about 5 minutes after the honey badger sighting, we saw the same leopard that we had seen a few days before, in the same sycamore fig tree.
We had quite a productive morning. We saw the whole Big Five before midday. And then we headed back to Satara and we had lunch and we chilled and we started our afternoon drive on the S26, the road that follows the Swaney River. And we've seen so many elephants. Wow, the road is covered in elephant. And we now parked at Valverdeent Waterhole and we've just had a hyena come slinking past us.
This road is really nice because it's not as busy as the other road. You do get a chance to stop and really just watch the small things like the birds without too much traffic, which is really nice.
And then I don't know how Shelley managed to see this pair of Verou's eagle owls. Even though they were out in the open, you aren't expecting two owls to be next to the road, especially while it's light.
Hey guys, good morning from Satara. We woke up early and now we're waiting at the gate. We thought we were going to be one of the first cars here, but turns out that we're the fifth car in the line. We haven't been getting lucky early morning with the cat sightings, but everything else has been pretty good. Yeah, hopefully this morning we get to see something.
It's now 2 minutes to 6, so let's see what we see.
After such a good start to the morning, we thought there was no chance of it getting any better than this, but it did.
So after the cheetah sighting, we drove on the S147, the one-way, and now we've finished the S147 and we're heading back towards the tar road, and we're not sure where we're going to go from there, but we're going to keep you guys updated. At the moment we're parked here and we're having a coffee break.
I've seen this female leopard many different times in the past. This is her adult cub. These two leopards definitely know how to put on a show. I mentioned I had seen the mother leopard in the past. Well, here are some photos of her as a cub and a sub-adult with her mother on the few occasions I was lucky enough to see her. It was so special to see that now she has a cub that's grown to be an adult. We then decided that we'd head back to Satara and stop and look at the general game that grazes in the grasslands between Satara and Olifants. There was quite a lot of activity. It was a nice, cool, overcast morning. In terms of birding at the rest camps inside of Kruger National Park, Satara is one of my favorites. Some good species can be found in between the chalets and at the campsites. The birds just seem so used to the people here, which is great for videography and just general bird watching. That afternoon we drove a route that's turned into one of our favorites when staying at Satara, because of the animals that come to drink at the waterhole and the direction of the setting sun.
So we had a very successful morning. We got very lucky and saw the 2 leopards just south of the S147 turnoff. They hung around for about 5 minutes and then were in and out of visual for about 20 minutes. And then after that we left and we headed south to Satara, and it was pleasant. And we were also lucky then we saw a Veru's eagle owl right next to the road, which was also another highlight of the morning.
Yeah, that was a very good spot by Richard. It was a nice set.
Shelley saw the 2 yesterday afternoon, so it was definitely about time that I spotted my own owl.
Yeah, and so beautiful with his
pink eyelids.
Pink eyelids. Looks like he's wearing makeup.
It really does. And then we got back to Satara and we just chilled in the campsite. I walked around and looked at some birds. It was a pleasant day.
Yeah.
It's not too hot.
Yeah, it's really nice today.
It's overcast.
Yeah, we've been surprised by the cold mornings and then the 30-degree afternoon. So it's nice to have a bit of cool weather for once.
If you camp along the fence line at Satara, you're pretty much guaranteed to see a hyena in the evenings when you're preparing dinner.
It's day 5 of our Kruger trip.
And we're going to head south to Chakwan.
Yeah.
We're here at the gate a little bit later than yesterday morning. We're about 2 cars further back than yesterday, probably about 8th in the queue. And it's 5 to 6 and we're waiting for the gate to open.
Definitely sad to be leaving Satara, very nice camp, and we had such a cool campsite along the fence.
Yeah, we were really lucky to get the campsite that we had.
Sad to be leaving, but we're off to Tamboti tonight, which will be exciting.
Yeah, super exciting to see the wildlife in that area.
We had a quiet morning drive south to Chakwani, and after seeing a few nice bird species and some general game, we decided to turn around and head back north towards Tamboti, where we were going to be staying that night. This was a great decision because shortly after that we had a very unexpected leopard sighting at midday. Just look how well hidden this cat is in the long grass. You won't believe how many cars got so close and drove right past it. This is why impala and so many other animal species need to be so careful out there. The leopard hung around for a long time. It was stalking a herd of impala which were on the other side of the road. It crossed the road, then crossed back a few times over, and it also used the car to stay hidden from the impala. We were sure it was going to catch something, but it was unsuccessful and eventually moved off into the long grass. After the really exciting views that we got of the leopard, we eventually arrived at Tamboti, where we weren't camping. We stayed in what's called a safari tent, and they all have really nice views of the dry Tamboti riverbed in front of the camp.
What's up behind you?
On this particular morning, we took it slow and enjoyed the sights and sounds around Tamboti camp. We were in no rush for the long drive to Crocodile Bridge, but about halfway through our drive there, we had our best big cat sighting of the whole trip. You don't usually see big male lions moving around like this. We knew straight away that they meant business. These two were headed right in the direction of a big herd of buffalo. As usual, we arrived at camp much later than expected. Predicting arrival times in the Kruger National Park is impossible. Although we had spent a lot of time in the car, we were still keen on doing an afternoon game drive because we had arrived in a new area, and it turned out to be one of those days that is just filled with lion sightings. Because lions spend the hottest hours of the day sleeping in the shade, here they are becoming active because temperatures have dropped. What a special sight.
Hey guys, morning. It's our last full day in the park and we left Crocodile Bridge early this morning at 6 o'clock when the gates opened. And now we're parked watching a juvenile gabar goshawk. Yeah, it's been a quiet morning and it's an overcast day today, so the temperatures definitely aren't going to be as high as they were yesterday. We're going to carry on driving along the S130 and come back down towards Croc Bridge via the S28 and maybe do the S25 depending on how we are for time.
And yeah, because it's our last day here, we're really scanning.
Yeah, we're really trying our best to spot something.
Back to the bird list I've been keeping. I had high hopes for us. I estimated 150. We were doing so well at one point. This goshawk for us is 116, but yeah, I'm not so confident in my 150, but we'll see what we get on a final total.
It was so interesting to watch this big herd of elephants just cross the Sabi River. They didn't even hesitate. Other mammals would avoid crossing rivers like this because of the crocodiles lurking in the water. These elephants are too big for the crocodiles to be any threat to them. Before crossing the river, this elephant made sure it got the best out of this ideal scratch post.
We didn't head back to Crocodile Bridge along the S28. We actually passed some people They told us that there was a leopard cub and a male leopard in a tree that were feeding on an impala, so we decided we had to head towards Lower Sabi along the main road and have a look at it, which we did.
We're very glad we did.
Yeah, we're very glad we did. It was probably one of the best sightings of the whole trip.
Yeah.
And then after that we headed to Sunset Dam and we saw the famous grey heron which surfs the hippos and the crazy amount of crocodiles that are chilling on the bank there at Sunset Dam.
Crazy big. Yeah.
And from there we headed across the bridge, the big main bridge at Lower Sabi, and we had a look, and now we're just on the opposite side of that bridge and we're going to head back south to Crocodile Bridge unless something pops up and we change direction.
On our way back to Crocodile Bridge, we weren't thrown off course by any other sightings, but we were entertained by this baboon and then later on an elephant feeding right at the entrance gate.
At the moment, we're at the lookout where we filmed the cars parked earlier. They were looking at some lion, which we then drove across to come and see if we could spot them, but they had moved away in the time that we took to drive here. Some Aramark babblers going off in the background. We're very sad because it's our final drive of the trip. We're going to be driving 5 west to Bergendal. We're going to do it for about an hour and a half. Hopefully we get to see something cool. There are a few hippos playing in the water here in front of us.
Yeah.
We stopped at Hippo Pool's Lookout where you can see across the Crocodile River. This spot is right where my dad and I saw a martial eagle building its nest a few years ago. The sighting was too good not to share old footage. These eagles are the largest in Africa with a wingspan of over 2.5 meters. It was a real privilege to see this individual doing some nest maintenance. These birds are real apex predators.
Oh, he is beautiful. We've just finished our afternoon drive and we're actually quite short for time. Shelly's begging us to turn around and, head back towards camp.
I'm always anxious to get to the gate on time.
Get to the gate on time, but we've come across this barred outlet. We've only seen one of these on our whole trip. We weren't going to go on a morning drive this morning, but we decided that we may as well head into the park for half an hour. We did that and we got really lucky. There were about 6 lion really close to the road and we got really good views of them just before leaving the park.
Yeah, and we got views of them getting up from one nap spot to another. Yeah.
Looking really playful. We also saw 2 males playing with each other, so that was really cool as well.
And then just as we thought all the action was over, we had this final cheetah sighting. It climbed up a tree and was mobbed by various bird species and then walked off into the distance. There really is nothing like Kruger National Park. We ended the trip on 126 bird species, which is a solid effort for a visit during winter. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed it, please like and subscribe if you haven't. See you guys in the next one.